Has Meta finally built an AI model powerful enough to rival the giants like Gemini and ChatGPT, or is this just another wave of hype? Today, I'm putting Muse AI through 10 real practical tests. The kind of task any graphic designer or content creator faces every single day. No cherry-picked, pretty showcase images. Here, we're going to find out together whether this model actually follows instructions, produces genuinely professional designs, and whether it's truly worth trusting with real work. Let's dive straight into test number 1 and see if Muse AI succeeds or fails, right out of the gate. Before we get into the tests themselves, here's quick access. Search for Meta AI on Google and you'll land on the official site. From there, sign up or log in. You can use an existing Meta account or register through email, Facebook, or Instagram, whichever you prefer. Once you're in, everything's ready to go. And that's exactly where I've set up a full lineup of prompts designed to push this model to its limits. For our first test, I wanted to see how Muse AI handles a genuinely complex instruction, a prompt packed with very specific requirements, a silver mirrorless camera, a black leather camera strap, a white notebook, a fountain pen, a ceramic coffee mug filled with coffee, a pair of sunglasses, a smartphone displaying a weather app, a green succulent plant, and a wooden desk. Then, I pasted the prompt in and hit generate, and it's worth noting at their last event, Meta said this model isn't just a static image generator anymore. It now works as a full agent. It can analyze, search the web, understand images, and execute tasks professionally. And the result here backs that up completely. Every single element from the prompt showed up exactly as described. The composition and shadows were handled with real precision, and even the text rendered cleanly and accurately. This first test was an easy win. Excellent quality with zero issues. Test 2, character context consistency. For test number 2, I uploaded a set of reference images instead of just typing a prompt. I wanted to see whether the model actually understands visual context and whether it could generate new scenes that stay true to what I gave it. I uploaded 3 images, A, B, and C, along with the matching prompt, and hit generate. The whole process didn't take long, genuinely fast, especially considering the quality it delivered. Comparing the output side by side with my uploaded references, the main character came through exactly as shown. Same face, same identity. The lighting, camera angle, and environment shifted only slightly. Exactly the kind of variation I'd asked for, while the background and shape stayed consistent. Even the smaller details held up. The hat, the travel bag, the jeans, the outfit, all preserved with real precision. On this front, the model delivered a genuinely excellent, near-perfect result. Test 3, partial image edit. Test 3 was about something different, editing just one part of an existing image while leaving everything else untouched. I gave it a photo and asked it to change only the sky, nothing else. This is a fair, no-frills test with zero exaggeration. It's simply meant to show what Muse AI can genuinely do with image editing, and you can see the whole process happening live through its visible thinking step. In the prompt, I specifically told it to change the sky to a dramatic cloudy sunset, and looking at the result, it nailed that part beautifully. The sky transformation looked stunning, but comparing it to the original image, it also added a few small flowers that weren't part of the original photo or the instructions. So it's not a flawless 100% precise edit, but overall, based on what it was given, this was still genuinely strong work. Test 4, long complex prompt, Instagram carousel. Test 4 was meant to be a real stress test, a long, highly detailed prompt, copied over in full to see whether Muse AI could actually execute a complete design brief exactly as instructed without missing a beat. I opened a fresh chat, pasted in the long prompt, built for a full Instagram carousel design, complete with a brand name, a defined brand personality, and every specification written out in detail, and uploaded the brand's logo as a reference image. Then I hit generate and asked it to produce 8 separate slides, each with different content, while keeping the logo design consistent throughout. After about 4 minutes, the model delivered the entire carousel. Same design language, same color palette, same style across every slide. The overall result was excellent, though a few small layout quirks showed up, some odd black corners and random little boxes that didn't need to be there, and I honestly can't tell if that came from how I phrased the prompt. Even so, slide after slide, the design stayed clean and cohesive. The liquid glass style looked especially sharp, and each slide felt distinct while staying visually consistent with the rest, exactly what you'd want for a polished Instagram post. The writing across every slide was accurate, with 0 spelling errors, and the logo stayed perfectly consistent across the entire carousel. Same branding, same placement, all the way to the final slide, which matched the same name, same logo, and same follow-up call to action. Overall, I'd rate this one a solid 9 out of 10, a genuinely impressive share-ready design that earns the hype around this model. Test 5, QR code generation. Test 5, generating a fully working QR code. I opened a new chat and simply told it to get to work, and it generated a QR code right away. Sure, plenty of websites already offer this kind of tool, but having it built directly into the model itself is a genuinely great addition. I wanted to push it further, so I repeated the same prompt but gave it an additional instruction this time. Use the reference image and place it exactly at the center of the QR code. I selected an image, and once the code was generated, I actually tested it myself and it worked, taking me straight to the correct website. Going back in, I also tested whether it could embed a logo right in the center of the code, a feature some QR generators offer if you want to brand it with your own logo or channel icon, making the final code look sharper. You can even describe exactly how you want the code to look. In my case, I added the text scan to learn more, along with a custom logo, and it handled every piece of that cleanly. You can fully customize the code's appearance and describe exactly what it should include, and once generated, it actually works with zero functional issues. Test 6, animated GIF generation. Now, on to the next feature, generating an animated GIF. Meta claims you can fully animate a GIF image through this model, so I put that claim to the test to see whether it could actually generate a sequence of images and stitch them together into real motion or not. I gave it a prompt and it offered me a set of options, including creating 30 individual frames. I selected option 1, expecting a genuine animated GIF as a result. As I understand it, the way this is supposed to work is the model generates a series of slides or short clips, then merges them into one looping GIF animation. But what I actually got back was a single static image, not remotely what I was hoping for. So I pushed further and asked it directly, make this image into a 16-frame looping animation, saved as a GIF with each frame slightly different from the last. I wrote that prompt specifically to test whether it could genuinely pull off a GIF, and the truth is, this is where the cracks show. The model doesn't fully grasp GIF generation as a concept. All it gave me were separate static frames. The bird in the image stayed completely still with no actual GIF ever produced. I even followed up and it told me it could generate a stitched together loop simply by combining separate frames and asked whether it should continue. I said yes and generated a few more shots, but the real problem is that it doesn't carry context from the very first prompt or first image, so it can't produce every frame in one continuous unified pass. I even tried telling it to continue without asking permission again, and the result was identical, no real difference at all, confirming that GIF generation has genuine context problems. It's possible some of this comes down to how the prompt was phrased. I'm honestly not sure how to word it differently to get a better result. I even tried giving it a video directly and asking it to convert that into a GIF file just to check whether video to GIF conversion works. And this feature actually exists in Meta's separate video generation tool, but unfortunately direct video to GIF conversion isn't supported there either. In an earlier separate conversation, it did manage to convert a video into a GIF, but that had its own issues. I tried again in a fresh chat, gave it a video and asked it to convert that to GIF animation format, and this time it simply refused. So bottom line, right now, GIF generation is far from a finished, reliable feature. Test 7, educational poster. Moving to test 7, I asked it to create an educational poster comparing Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, a classic school-style infographic, just to check whether the model can genuinely adapt across completely different formats and content types. It delivered a poster with a genuinely beautiful design, and the information itself was accurate. There were a couple of minor design hiccups. The sun, for instance, wasn't shaped quite right, but overall the design was excellent, and it clearly understood the educational context in full. Test 8, character expression consistency. Test 8 is a bit different, so I opened a brand new chat. Every test really should run in its own separate conversation to avoid any crossover or bleed through between responses. This test was built to check character consistency across 5 different expressions from the same character: natural, happy, thinking, surprised, and smiling, while keeping the setting, the architecture, the office environment, the person's face, hairstyle, clothing, desk arrangement, camera angle, and lighting all visually consistent across every single generation. So the first image would be natural, the second happy, the third thinking, the fourth surprised, and the last one smiling, and I was curious to see just how perfect the result could actually be. The model went through its generation process, refining each portrait one by one, and it delivered exactly what was asked: natural, smiling, thinking, surprised, and smiling again. Every single image worked flawlessly with genuinely lifelike quality. The character consistency was spot on, same character, same identity, same overall design, same setting throughout. This is genuinely excellent work. It preserved every detail across all 5 images, changing only the facial expression each time exactly as instructed. When it comes to character consistency, this model is outstanding. Test 9, premium Instagram product ad now. On to test 9. I gave it a new prompt, hit paste, and asked it to create a premium Instagram advertisement for a fictional brand called Blue Def, promoting a wireless product with free specific requirements included in the brief. And it delivered a genuinely polished Blue Def design executed almost flawlessly. There was one small issue with how the letter in the logo rendered, but aside from that, the image overall looked professional and impressive. The poster itself was clean and complete, ready to post straight to Instagram with 0 further edits needed. Color balance, lighting, and shadows were all handled beautifully, genuinely great, polished work. Now for test number 10. This one's a real stress test designed specifically to check how well the model handles a complex diagram style layout. I opened a fresh chat, pasted a prompt, and hit go. This test asked for a complete travel poster for Kyoto, Japan, with a long list of specific requirements because I wanted to check whether it could genuinely gather and organize all these details correctly, the way Meta claims it can. Remember, Meta describes this model as a real agent. one that can search, understand context, and pull together resources and key information with real precision. So I asked it to compile everything into a single poster to see whether it could actually verify and assemble all these pieces correctly. Once it finished generating, the result was genuinely impressive. A photorealistic background exactly as required, showing Mount Fuji in Kyoto, Japan, with all the details accurately represented and the environment fully realized. It included a traditional temple, Mount Fuji in the background, and even a working functional QR code. I tested it and it actually works, linking to something like a small city map. The typography was modern and clean with zero issues, and the overall image quality was genuinely high. Professional travel poster design, premium quality throughout. I'd score this one 9 out of 10. The one thing missing was an actual city map. The brief called for one, but it just wasn't included. So I followed up and told it directly. Add a map of Kyoto City instead of the QR code, and keep everything else exactly as it is, untouched. This was meant to test whether it truly understands context the way Meta claims. It did make the change, but instead of adding the map in the correct spot, it ended up swapping out the QR code for the map in the wrong location. Not a perfect execution of that specific edit, but functionally the model still worked correctly overall. Bonus test, image quality upscaling, and final verdict. For one last bonus test, I wanted to see whether Muse AI could upscale image quality, a feature already available in tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, both of which handle it beautifully. I picked an existing image as my example, gave it the prompt to enhance the image quality, and waited while it processed. Once it finished its final pass, the upscale was excellent, and comparing the image before and after, the improvement in quality was clear and obvious. Every original detail stayed intact. The bike shape, all defined details, while sharpness and clarity noticeably improved. This feature genuinely works well, with one real limitation. The final file doesn't download at its full original size. So, after running through all 10 tests, here's my honest take. Muse AI is a genuinely impressive, powerful model, especially when it comes to image design. It's excellent enough to go head-to-head with ChatGPT and with Gemini's Nano Banana, mainly because it behaves like a true agent rather than just a static image generator. It understands context, understands language, and understands what you're actually asking for. My final score for this model, 8 out of 10. It's not entirely flawless. A few design elements weren't perfectly executed, but overall, this is a genuinely excellent model that I'd recommend to anyone. I've used it for a full day now, completely free, with no payment required and no usage limit that I've hit so far, though I honestly don't know if personal use limits might show up down the line. Either way, this is a fantastic model and I recommend it to everyone, whether you're a designer or you run your own business. And that brings us to the end of today's video. See you in the next one. Stay tuned because there's a lot more great content coming your way.